Zakat, Chicago.
What wealth is zakatable? Ustadh Ubaydullah Evans, Scholar in Residence at ALIM, American Learning Institute for Muslims, in cooperation with the Downtown Islamic Center, DIC.
Zakat is only due on savings, not income. So things that you save, you have to pay zakat on. All right? Savings and not income. Right? So your income is not zakatable. Money that you're using for your day-to-day expenditure is not zakatable. But money that you have in savings, right? You have to pay zakat in various accounts, right? Gold and silver, right? You have to pay zakat on gold and silver, right? Jewelry, you have to pay zakat on jewelry. Only the gold and silver content of the jewelry, not the diamonds. You're okay, you're okay. You're good, inshallah. Inshallah khair, inshallah. Not those shoes, inshallah khair, inshallah. You know, not the diamonds. Only the gold and silver content of the jewelry you have to pay zakat on. Now, just to show you how detailed our tradition is, one of the most interesting discussions in the traditional law that I encountered was, how do we deal with watches? Are they jewelry or are they tools? Because are they instruments? So you have some opinions that say, no, watches, you have to pay zakat on them because we wear them for adornment. So in that sense, they're like jewelry. And then some people say, no, watches are instruments that we use for practical purposes like telling time. So they're not jewelry. We just wear them. They have this additional feature of being adornment, but we're actually using it for a practical purpose. In that case, it's an instrument. You don't have to pay zakat on instruments, only on jewelry. I was just thinking to myself in Egypt, like, you guys have really turned every nook and cranny, man. You know, you guys have gone into, I'm reading this discussion like, wow, they've left no stone unturned. Okay, stocks. Yes?
That was one last Julie question before we move on. I heard something about men wearing gold. Can you speak more on that? Is it that men aren't supposed to wear gold?
Well, the general rule is that the Prophet ﷺ said that there are two items that are halal for the women of my ummah, but haram for the men of my ummah. Gold and silk. That women can wear gold and can wear silk, but men should avoid them. Right? Now, there's a discussion of deep tedium about, platinum, because it's more valuable than gold. But some people say that platinum is okay, because what really gives gold away is the color. Whereas if a person is wearing platinum, it could be silver. Some people say if you have an alloy, because when you talk about like the carat weight of gold, 24 karat gold is pure gold. But because gold is very soft, it's almost always alloyed with something. So like 22 karat gold is 22 parts gold, 2 parts another metal. Down to 14, the same thing. 14 parts gold, 10 parts another metal. Once you get down to 10 karat gold, it's actually 10 parts gold, 14 parts another metal. It's not even really gold. So all of that jewelry that you guys are buying at these fake jewelry emporiums, halal inshallah. It's not even gold. But some people say it should be of even gold tone and gold plated things should be avoided because of the color. Other people, the other opinion is that gold tone and gold plated things are okay if they're not actually gold. For men, right? If you have rental properties, the zakat should be applied to the net rental income from those properties. Okay? So, yes?
Net rental income. Sorry, I don't mean to fixate on everything, but this is relevant.
Yes, this is.
So if you have like, if you own property,
Mm-hmm.
so you get like, let's just say a certain amount every year from the tenants.
Mm-hmm.
But that money is used, say, for like mortgage and tax. Then it's like a year to get it. So is it things on credit? How does that work?
Now, I think the assumption here is that if you have a rental property, meaning a property that you don't live in, that is in and of itself something not essential for your living, right? Meaning like, this is not the house that I live in. This is a place that I own that I collect rent on. The amount of the rent collected over the course of one hawl, 1 lunar year, zakat is taken on that amount.
What if there is nothing left because you're paying it to?
Now, if in fact there is nothing left, like just paying maintenance and tax, mortgage, maybe bad tenants, then of course there's nothing to pay zakat on.
But then let's say there were savings, but it didn't go the entire lunar year. And it's like, let's just say it can fluctuate. Like do you know what I mean?
Not exactly. No, bismillah. And I would love to clarify.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like with tenants, it's kind of like, it can be a tricky thing because sometimes the money doesn't go all year round because let's just say like 1 year you have 10K, but another year it's like 30, and then that money all goes away one time. So it's not like.
So you're paying, if this was money that was earned above what is needed for one's regular daily expenditure, over the course of 1 year, you just pay for that year. The next year, if you don't have anything for the next year, then you wouldn't be paying anything. You just pay for the year that passed. When you had the property, the tenants were occupying the property and they were paying rent.
Even though it's not a fixed amount that went into it.
Even though it's not a fixed, we're just saying that, and by the way, you're not paying like a zakat for my jewelry, a zakat for my rent, a zakat for my cash savings. You're paying one zakat, but we're saying include that money.
Sure.
Whatever money is generated from rental property that you own, include that amount. Now you don't have to include the equity because that's something that can't be determined. But you do have to include the amount generated from the rent. Yes.
I just wanted to mention that you were talking about the punishment where you hoard whatever you didn't spend on your neck. Also in Surah Tawbah, Allah says that those who hoard gold and silver and they don't spend it in the way of Allah, it will be heated in the fire of Jahannam and it will be used to burn their foreheads and their sides and their backs.
La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. On the gold and the silver. So my brother just mentioned a verse in Surah At-Tawbah where Allah Ta'ala says that those who hoard the gold and silver pieces, the dinar and the dirham originally, but now for us gold and silver, mostly jewelry, and they don't offer the zakat on that, that same money will be used to punish them, to inflict this grievous punishment of actually branding them on the forehead and on the back and on the sides with the money that they used to hoard. So, we should be regular. This is just further emphasis that we should be regular in paying our zakat. Now we come to zakat on restricted funds and loans. This is a comment that we get, this is a question that we get often. No zakat is to be paid on loans. Right? On loans. If you don't expect to receive that money. And so this is where this is very subjective. Let me say that again. Let's say that someone asked me for some money for their college tuition. And I have some money in my savings account. And I give them that money here as a loan. Not as a hiba, not as a gift, but I'm giving it as a qard, as a loan. If I reasonably expect that money to be repaid, when I'm calculating my zakat, I should treat the amount as though that money were there. If I reasonably expect it to be repaid. Now, if you have friends like mine, and you don't expect the money to be repaid, and everything you loan it as like, if the money comes back to me, I'll be surprised. If the money comes back to me, I'll be surprised. I'm giving it as a loan, but I'm prepared for it to be a gift, right? If this is your situation, you don't have to include that money in the amount that you're totaling for your zakat when it comes to loans. Do I make myself clear? If you've given money from your savings and you reasonably expect that money to come back, you know how people tell you it's in the bank. You know, some people are just that sure. You know, I have a friend named Ali. If he ever takes a loan, you can count it like it's in the bank. It's in the bank. The money is in the bank. You loaning me money, the money is still in the bank. People like that, you have to give charity on that amount as though the money were in the bank. People that you loan money and it's like, it's in the bank. No, it's not in the bank. It's not in the bank. If it gets back, I'll be surprised. You don't have to give your zakat on that amount. Restricted funds, so like 401ks, these kinds of funds. There is two opinions on this matter. We get this question a lot now. Some people say if there is a penalty attached to taking the money, meaning you would incur some kind of financial penalty. If you withdrew the money, then you don't have to pay zakat on the money. It should not be considered savings because it is not freely within your grasp. I mean, you don't have free access to it. But that's the weaker opinion. The stronger opinion, and this is the opinion that I think we should operationalize, I think we should utilize, is that zakat should be paid on the 401k, deducting the amount that the penalty would, deducting the penalty if you were to take it. You don't have to take it down. But you look at the amount of the 401k. You say, if I were to take it today, what is the penalty that I would incur? You subtract that amount, the amount of the penalty, from the amount of the 401k, and then you pay zakat on that amount. Is that clear? Yes.
Which is different from like a retirement account that you can't even touch.
Yeah, if it's money that you cannot touch, meaning like I cannot touch it, then it is not technically in your grasp. It's not, because the money that you pay zakat on has to be money that's in your grasp. So if I'm set to inherit $1 million when somebody passes away, right? That's not yet, I don't have that money yet, as long as the person is still alive. So even if I'm set to say, someone says, so if somebody says, this is money that has been willed to me. Somebody has made out a wasiyah. They've made a will out to me that when they pass away, I get $10 million. You don't have to. You don't have to start paying zakat on that because you don't have it yet. So if there's a fund that you cannot access, like I can't access it, you don't have to pay zakat on it. With the 401k, I can access it, but I would incur a penalty if I did. So you deduct the amount of the penalty and you pay on what will be left after the penalty. Because it is in your grasp, but with a penalty though. But if I want it, I can get it. So it's mine. So let's deal with the 401k. If I want it, I can take it. So it's mine. Not like the retirement fund that you can't touch. You understand what I'm saying? Debt. Okay, this is important. Debt is difficult to talk about because we are literally a society drowning in debt. All of us are in debt. Student debt, housing debt, medical bills, insurance. We're drowning in debt. So if we adhered strictly to this idea that money must first go to paying your debt, and any money that you have, you subtract the amount of your debt from that money before you even pay zakat. So if I have a $400,000 mortgage and I have $100,000 in my savings account, I'm actually -3 in a technical sense. However, we don't look at debt in that way. We could not. If we looked at debt in that way, none of us would pay zakat. We would all go around saying, "I'm in the red. I'm in the red, man. I can't. I don't need to give. I'm in the red. Mortgage, student loan. I'm in the red. Healthcare bills. I'm in the red. No. You have short-term debt and long-term debt. So short-term debt is debt that you expect to repay within that same year. That is debt you can subtract from the amount you have to pay in zakat. So if I have $100,000 in my savings account and I owe somebody $200 that I have to pay, before the year's out, I'm paying zakat on $9,800 because technically I'm indebted to somebody $200. That's with regard to short-term debt. Even if I have the money and I haven't paid my debt, that amount can be subtracted for what I have to, from what I have to pay in zakat because I'm indebted to somebody. I have to pay my debt before I calculate my savings. You understand? Long-term debt, student loans, mortgages, debt that you do not expect to pay over the course of 1 year is you don't include that in your when you're calculating your zakat. You don't subtract your long-term debt from that zakat. Now you can subtract it if it's delinquent. See, like when people talk about making hajj and that you should pay all of your debt before you make hajj, right? It's like, no. It's if you have debt that you are managing on a schedule and you're keeping up with the schedule, that's called managed debt. Meaning like I'm supposed to pay this every month and I pay it every month. You can make hajj with that kind of debt. You have to pay zakat with that kind of debt. If you begin to fall behind, I'm 2 months behind on my mortgage. I'm 3 months behind on my student loans. I'm 4 months behind on my medical bills, etc. You can subtract that amount that you're behind from the money that you have to pay in zakat. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? All right?